Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. Today we're moving on with our Arpeggio series. We're going to cover the major 7 Arpeggio. So there's a couple things. If this is maybe the first, it just popped up on your feed and this is the first video you've seen from Everything Bass. First of all, welcome. Really glad you're checking us out. Before we go on to the major 7 Arpeggio, you may want to pause this video and go back and search YouTube because I did a series called Understanding Intervals. There's 6 videos for that. And I did a series for 4 triads: major triad, minor triad, diminished triad, and augmented triad. So if you can go back and review those, that's kind of the sequence I hadn't planned in presenting this material for you. So let's start with the major 7 Arpeggio. So of course this logically supports the major 7 chord. When someone in the band is playing the major 7 chord, by learning the arpeggios, we know the notes they're actually playing, and those notes are great resolutions. Those are notes that match perfectly when we play a bass line against the chord, so it's important for us to know. It's not the only notes you can play, obviously, but they're the notes that are really resolved. So we're going to do the major 7 arpeggio right now, starting with C. So I'm going to give you multiple ways to remember it because you know my style. If you've watched other videos, you know my style. I want to give you like memory triggers. Multiple things you can think about that help you remember this piece. So here we go. We're going to start with the intervals. So we have a root or tonic, then we have a major third, we have a perfect fifth, we have a major 7, and we have the octave. So that's the major 7 arpeggio. Perfect. Now let's look at it a couple different ways. Let's look at the fingering we're using. If we use a 1 finger per fret discipline, we got middle finger, index finger, pinky, ring, and pinky. So those are the fingering. This is one way to play the major 7 arpeggio. Obviously there's other fingerings available, but this is one that is kind of a good starting point. It's also very comfortable on the hand, fits really well. So now let's look at like some of the interior parts of it. Like a major 7 major 7 arpeggio has a major triad as its base. So remember the root, the major third, perfect fifth, and it adds the major 7 interval on top. So that's another way to think about it. So we want to now add this to your practice routine so it becomes familiar. Remember the goal. The goal is that you can play this off of any root. So no matter what the musical situation, if someone says F sharp major 7, or you see, you see D flat major 7 on a chart that you're reading, I want you to be able to find it quickly in your fingerboard and know the notes that are in the chord. So if you're familiar, I'm always going to suggest the same thing. Take it and learn it on like every root on your bass. Don't try to do that in one day, but like take one day, take C, play the C major 7 arpeggio, go up to this C, play that one, go up to this C. And just do that, then move on to your practice. Next day, take G and play G. And just keep doing that, cycling it through the different roots. And in very short amount of time, you'll have this pattern memorized, you'll be able to recognize it by ear, and you'll be able to play it on any root on your bass. And that's really the primary goal of learning arpeggios. That's the first step. I'm going to show you some different ways to practice it. I have a cool series coming up, which is the way we sequence through all the inversions that chord can take on. Don't get wrapped around the axle right now. That's something that'll come on later. But first step, make sure you can play this. A good test is just say any new note and major 7. So like say, okay, E major 7. Can I play that arpeggio? Speaking of it, let's address the open E and open A strings. When you learn what's called a closed pattern that has no open strings, sometimes that's comfortable, and what's uncomfortable is when we can't actually play that physical pattern, that shape. So we shy away from using the open E, but our role as bass players, we got sometimes play the lowest possible note to really add a strong foundation to the song we're working on. So of course, since we have an open E, we don't have that pattern available because we can't play the G sharp back here. So we have to learn what it looks like when we have the tonic as an open string. So in this case, we have the open E, the major third is G sharp. So I use my pinky, I think you should too, and play the 4th fret. So E, G sharp, go to the 2nd fret on the A string, which is the B, index finger plays the D sharp, and then the E. So it looks like this. That's how the arpeggio looks when it's an open E. Now with an open A, you just drop that down. Gotta love the way the bass is organized, makes things easier to learn. And there's the A major 7. If this is still a little nebulous, one thing that might help you is to go to my Patreon account, which is patreon.com/everythingbass, and find this unit. You'll just be able to find them on the list of posts that I put. Major 7 Arpeggio, and you'll see that there's a PDF you can download. On that PDF, I show you what it looks like when the tonic is on the A string, when the tonic is on the E string, and when the tonic is an open note. So that can really help you kind of visualize it, because we all learn differently. Sometimes it's hands-on, sometimes it's being able to see it. So I'm trying to offer all those resources so these can be valuable lessons to you. All right, now today's Encore item is a little different. It's another book. That's not different. I love music books. I've told you guys that many times. But you'll hear me say a lot of times when I show you a new scale or arpeggio or any kind of new concept, I'll say create with it. Write bass lines with it. You know, make it yours. Internalize it. And that's such an important part of completing the loop, the educational loop. That's why, like, when you're in high school and college and you take a science class, there was the class and then there was the lab. That completes the loop. You get the lecture on the concept and then you put it into practice. For us, putting it into practice is actually creating with it. But I've heard from students over the years, they're like, I don't know how to write bass lines. I'm not a good music writer. I don't write songs. And they just stop it right there. And with respect to them, that's silly. But I get what they're saying. They just have never been taught composition or anything. And so years ago, when I was living in Arizona, I went to a bookstore, I believe it was called the Borders, and I found this book, Composing Music, A New Approach. And it's a style of learning composition that's based on a workbook. This is actually a workbook, just similar to as if you would have gone, when you get a workbook at college or anything. What I like about this, first of all, he starts, the instructors, is actually 3 people. They start with a very simple concept, writing melodies. And it gives you limitation. Now, limitation is a very important part of learning anything, which is, if we are given full reign, like, here, write a song, and they just tell you, write a song, just do it, that's not really helpful. And if you already are writing songs, sometimes you'll just rewrite a song you've already written. Really great education comes from giving you a limitation. Write a melody with just these 4 notes. Write a melody with this rhythm. What it's forcing you to do is get out of your own personal habits and likes and stuff, and forces you to really dig deep into your creative mind. And this book does this a lot. It's actually quite a thick workbook and has so much. It goes really deep and actually teaches you a lot of the, like if you were studying composition in the university level, this covers a lot of the vocabulary, a lot of like the terms and exercises, but it's all based on you doing. And I just love it. And I've learned a lot from it. So I recommend Composing Music, A New Approach. William Russo is the actual primary author, but there's 2 other authors he quotes. So, and I don't know what each one did, but it's just a great exercise. So there you have it. Use this if you have the time and the energy and you feel like you could really strengthen your composition understanding. Get this resource and work it into your practice schedule. Now what's nice is this can be done separate from you sitting in front of the bass. A lot of this time you can just grab, you probably want your bass with you so you can hear it, but you don't, you can do it separate from your sit down practice time. You can do this in front of the TV, where you read a section, pause the TV, hear the exercise, then write it out. By the way, all the they give you all blank manuscript in here, so it's a self-contained. You don't have to go and buy some blank manuscript to do it. All right, so there you have it. Major 7 arpeggios. Now you know. Now you know how to play those, and you can add those to the triads you've learned. And when I give you ideas to, or suggestion to write with this arpeggio, create a bass line, create a melody, and you feel weak on that, then you can also get Composing Music and start strengthening your compositional skills. That's really going to help you. I think it really helps you enjoy the process. Because listen, I'm a realist. Sometimes practicing bass can be a little bit boring. And usually, my concept behind that is that you're practicing the same thing over and over again. It's hard to get bored if you always have new content to work on. And that's why I'm videotaping so much here. and offering so many short videos. I want this to always make your practice time new, fresh, exciting. So anyway, so major 7 arpeggios, composing music, there you have it. This unit's complete. If you've enjoyed this, it really helps, and I can't stress it enough, but it really helps if you can like the video. Even if you go, oh, I've liked the other videos, it really helps grow the channel and let Everything Bass become more than it is now. If you could just like every video you watch, and of course it means a lot to me if you could subscribe to the channel and then hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new content goes up. I really am just enjoying this. I'm really excited for where it can be. This is the beginning, so I've actually been putting out weeks upon weeks of foundational studies, scales, arpeggios, basic technique. But I'm really looking forward to when we can evolve this into more intermediate and advanced studies and get you guys really playing. And hopefully, in a weird way, we'll be able to play along together. So I'm excited about that. All right, so thank you so much for stopping by. Please, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, suggestions to make these videos better, please leave that in the comment section below or email me at dtitus@daletitus.com. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon.